Welcome to another edition of Minot Talk.
It's Tuesday. It's 9 a.m. We're back again. We've been doing this for like 2 years now. Well, no,
Yeah.
it was at 2, then it was at 8, now it's at 9.
But we pretty much always had the
Tuesdays.
same dumb intro.
Yes.
It's Tuesday. It's Minot Talk. It's
Here.
9 a.m. We're here. This time, though, we have a lot of fun things to talk about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that happened since the last time we convened on Thursday. And on top of that, we're joined by a special guest today, Zach Raknerud, we're going to talk to him here in a minute. So it's going to be a fun time.
Got some special discussions that Zach's going to bring up today, and then we have we've got some. There was a special city council meeting last Friday that we're going to discuss a little bit, some updates with the Service Valley Animal Shelter and the Pound services, and
yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
There's that. There's the school lunch bill.
yeah, that narrowly failed in the state legislature. That was a very interesting thing that took place on Thursday last week.
Candidates are jumping into races.
They're starting. Yes, they are starting to. We're hearing all about that.
Really? Park board sales tax.
Yes, something that we meant to talk about on Thursday, then got sidetracked.
And probably the biggest breaking news and unbelievable headline of the year. I'm calling it right now. A kid. Okay, you understand what I'm saying once we're out. Okay. Shadur Sanders was shockingly selected to the 2026 Pro Bowl.
And we'll break that down. Don't worry.
7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That'll get you a Pro Bowl invite.
What about JJ McCarthy, man? Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
9.
So many people that could have done it. But Shadur made it.
I love
All right.
it.
We are joined by Zach Raknerud. You have a special announcement that you're going to make today. We're going to kick it off with this
Little video.
So let me figure out my life over here and we'll get it going.
Yeah,
Hey,
Jonathan.
Minot. My name is Zach Raknerud, and I'm running for the District 5 House of Representatives in Minot. And today, I'm walking down Minot's Burdick Expressway. Do you know who this street is named after? Legendary North Dakota Senator Quentin Burdick. Did you know before Senator Burdick was ever elected, he lost 6 races? Well, this is my 5th time on District 5's ballot. In 2018, I ran for this very seat. In 2020, I ran for Congress. In 2022, I ran for the Minot City Council. In 2024, I campaigned for write-in votes to the Ward County Commission. In all these races, my foundational motivation was to see us reduce despair and improve life for North Dakotans. So once again, I'm asking for your support. We're facing immense challenges, and we're gonna need better leaders from Minot to address them. Too many people in North Dakota are working full-time and struggling to get by. We must take action to make life better and to raise wages, and we can do that by bringing wage discussions back to the county level. It is clear that health insurance in North Dakota has become a market failure. The legislature must explore universal health care that is pro-business, pro-family, and lifts up the families of North Dakota and small business owners alike. We must also protect our farmers from other market failures, tap into our history, and create a state-owned and operated cattle feedlot and meat processing plant right here in North Dakota. These things are possible. North Dakota has demonstrated in its history an ability to deliver on bold and needed reforms for its people. So please join us. Visit d5mmpl.com today to make a contribution or learn more. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on today.
thanks.
I'm just thrilled to be able to announce this campaign with you guys. Been on here a couple times, and I just appreciate all the work you guys do here in the community, keeping people informed. So,
Of course.
let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love to
Appreciate
see
you reaching out.
Yeah, officially D5 candidate Zach Raknerud. So, what are some? Obviously, love the commercial, love the first steps. What are some of your biggest platforms that you're going to be looking at this spring here?
Yeah, the entire theme of this campaign is going to go along the lines of looking to reduce despair and improve life.
Okay.
That's the main theme right there, because we're living in pretty unprecedented times right now, and my true guiding philosophy through all the runs that I made in political life is to see us do that, to reduce despair and improve life. Like, there is a lot that the legislature could be doing that would improve lives here in North Dakota, and especially for the folks that are struggling. There's a lot of people with soaring healthcare premiums. Ground beef has doubled in price. There's a lot going on in that way, and so Minot has not exactly been the best demonstration of good leadership. We've had a lot of embarrassing headlines over the last couple of years, and a lot of them from North Dakota are coming out of Minot. So I'm running to bring a better perspective, and it's going to be a challenge, but I'm here to give it the try.
Good.
Absolutely. So obviously you ran in the past for different positions. This time D5 again. That's where D5 House. That's where we're looking. Why? What makes this time different? What makes this time special? Why is this important now?
So with D5 specifically, the thing that really motivates me for this race specifically is I look out at the state of the North Dakota Republican Party today, and there's a certain irony out there with the party today in North Dakota, and that is, I've watched content from that of the new NDGOP chair, Matthew Simon, and he talks a lot about how he wants a certain wing of Republicans to present the values of North Dakota, while at the same time advocating for values that are wholly antithetical to that of North Dakotans. I grew up in a rural community in North Dakota, and I grew up strongly in the values of Jesus Christ, and I carry those values with me today. And when I see, there's a very big sense of irony to see where the NDGOP is headed, where the most extreme faction, the NDGOP, is headed, and it's antithetical. They're completely separate. And so I want to make the case to the people in Minot's District 5 that, I understand that this district hasn't elected a Democrat since 2006. It's been 20 years.
That's incredible.
But I think now's the time for people to consider it. We need to reject this extremism that we're seeing from the NDGOP and hold that party accountable by voting for something else. Because the thing that really strikes me is this idea that we're going to measure how good a legislator is based on how often they vote with Dem and PL legislators. You could imagine the best bill in the world, the ice cream and puppies bill for all, to be hyperbolic about it. And if 2 or 3 NDGOPs defect from it, they'll get points for that because they didn't vote with the Democrats.
Yeah.
That's a gross brand of politics. It's taking over all of our politics, this division, this awfulness. And that's why I picked this race specifically, is because it's partisan, and it's going to be a challenge to have a Democrat elected in this seat. But it's a challenge that's worth having because we need to have a reckoning with this extremism.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree along the lines of that we don't look at bills anymore. We look at who introduced the bill and all that and figure out what the party line is on it for sure.
The ideology behind the bill rather than a lot of times what the bill actually is, kind of thing.
For sure. That'll be interesting. Okay, so you mentioned, and I have the first part, but I forget the second part, reduce despair and
improve life.
Improve life. Okay, so that's kind of the key theme of your campaign. How does that happen? How are you able to accomplish that mission?
Yeah. So the 3 main planks that were introduced in the campaign video are really going to be some of the focuses, and it really comes down to wages, healthcare costs, and tapping into our history to do things that actually benefit the people of North Dakota. So you look at the wage discussions. Minimum wage talks have always been rejected by the legislature. We're tied to the same minimum wage as the federal government at $7.25 an hour. But North Dakota is a big state.
Right.
Like Cass County is a lot different than Ward County.
Right.
McKenzie County is a lot different than Rowlett County.
For sure.
So I'm proposing that we should kick that down from the state level and have a system where we say, hey, county commissions, you got to set standards for wages.
Okay.
And that works out well because the federal government, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, I believe, or Housing and Urban Development, one of those agencies has great cost of living data that's broken out by county. And so if we have those discussions, that's way better, like to increase civic engagement, to make people feel less hopeless because they see the legislature reject on that sort of thing. And on healthcare costs, I mean, we have one of the most consequential strategists in the NDGOP's history, Pat Finken, saying that we need to look at single-payer healthcare. We need to negotiate prescription drug prices. The healthcare system's collapsing in front of us. Yep. And so we need to be ready. And that's why, we have premiums rising by so much. And that is, you want to talk about something that causes despair. It's the fact that, I can't get my family health care coverage. It's too expensive.
Right.
To think of that dread that you feel every day of wondering if your kid's going to, climb up a tree, fall down, and break their arm, and all of a sudden you're out thousands and thousands of dollars.
Even kids getting cancer and stuff like that, and it's such a weird deal. But that totally changes the direction of someone's family there.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference. And then the final plank there of in North Dakota's history, again, when I talk about how the NDGOP today is completely disconnected from the values of North Dakota, that's where you see it right there. Is in the history of North Dakota is we have a state-owned bank, we have a state-owned mill and elevator. The Industrial Commission was completely set up to do that, and so we need to learn from that. And we see incredible market concentration in the meatpacking industry. People around here want country of origin labeling. Beef prices are soaring, and it's going to get worse. Like, I remember a couple of years ago, $3.50 a pound on ground beef. Now it's like $8 in some places. It's nuts. Yeah. And so we can do these kinds of things. We've done it in the past, and so let's do it.
First a comment, then a question. The Industrial Commission's definitely changed a lot now from what it originally started as.
Sure.
It's made a lot of changes. But your first point you made, you said that you'd like to change, you'd give the counties the ability to take over the wage system so they could pretty much institute their own minimum wages.
Yes.
That's incredibly interesting. How would that work legislatively?
So, I mean, you look at like kind of the way that authority works in the government. You have supremacy with the federal government, then you have state government, and then it kind of goes down that way. And so looking to have a bill that compels the county commission to set kind of wage standards. And I think that it's a healthy way to approach it, because those counties could still, make their own choices regarding what they wanted to do, but it would allow people in these communities to have some kind of outlet to say, hey, I'm struggling here. We need to, make some changes. And it's not, just a minimum wage. It could be any kind of wage standards. Sure. You talk about maybe like a bunch of people that work in the tip service industry want to get together, coalesce, go to their county commission and say, hey, we don't want to have a $3 an hour minimum wage for servers. We want to have something that, for the folks who work the Monday through Friday where tips are slow, they want to have a steady guaranteed wage.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's all across the board.
Yeah, that would really, people talk about local control. I think that would be a very interesting point towards that, and also just really individualizing that system.
And I think we could get the political will for that. I think, like, when you talk about like making it up to that decision, it's not the legislator themselves who's going to be voting for a certain minimum wage statewide. It's just giving the ability to the county commissions, which is a lot easier to sell, I think, even for conservative members of the legislature.
I mean, getting stuff out of getting power out of Bismarck might be kind of hard, but but I agree with you that that's actually something that could be very bipartisan there. Pro-family, pro-business, and universal health care. That's what your website stands for, what we stand for on the website. How do we fix the healthcare problem? Obviously, that's something that, and we're not looking to jump into the federal game, but that's something that the federal game has more or less been involved for. So at a state level, how do we go ahead and kind of remedy this, you see?
Yeah, it's a significant challenge, right? So we've seen that other states in the past have maybe explored this kind of thing. I believe it may have been Vermont explored the idea of a single payer system at the state level, and they found that, the taxes required for it were too high to kind of justify it. But this is like a whole different environment now. We're talking about a healthcare system that is kind of buckling under its own weight. And, I think the way that we could approach this is to first do a legislative management study. Like, I'm not, ignorant to the fact that I can go into Bismarck and say, we're going to do single payer healthcare and we're going to get this passed. But I think we do have the political will to come in and say, like, let's study this issue, because it's not going to get better, guys. Like, I've seen some commentary saying, well, this is what the big, beautiful bill did to our healthcare. It's like, big, beautiful bill ain't even in effect yet. Like, 2027 is when the Medicaid stuff comes in, and then 2028 is when the austerity of actual budget declines kick in. So this is going to get worse before it gets better. And so since we have a little bit of a runway, let's use it. Let's get study. Let's figure out like what we need. It even like lumps into county budgets, because some of the municipal budgets, some of the highest costs for city governments and county governments as healthcare. Yeah. So they all kind of fold together, and I believe firmly that health insurance is a market failure. Like, it's one of those things that nobody likes to go to the doctor. People want coverage because they want to actually have that security. For sure. But they're only going to use it when they need it. Like, So
do you buy into the concept that part of the problem with health coverage is that kind of the whole system's broken, that we have hospitals that are working for profit more than they are working for truly helping the needs of individuals and stuff like that? The goal should be to get people where they're not needing medication or whatever, rather than sometimes getting them, it seems like, hooked on medication for life or for an extended period of time. Some of those counter arguments to the whole system. What's your viewpoints on some of that?
There are a lot of broken incentives in our healthcare system, for sure. And I think a lot of it does come down to the fact that people use the emergency room as primary care. And that snowballs into costs and costs and costs on the system. If somebody, feels a bit of a lump on their pectoral muscle or something, and then they decide like, I can't afford to go get that checked out by primary care. And over time they delay, and it becomes worse till eventually they can't ignore it anymore. And they present to an emergency room and they find out that what was stage 1 or 2 cancer is now stage 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And that has immense cost on the healthcare
Undoubtedly.
system. So it's about like, fixing those incentives that you talk about where folks are, like you talk about getting access to a primary care doctor. Like sometimes even in today's healthcare system, it can take a little bit of time, but if you're doing that preventative check-in, that pays dividends in the long run to both the patient and to the healthcare system itself.
Very good.
Yeah.
Couple of comments go through. One, wage standards destroy small business. Look at Washington State. Do you feel like that the concept that you're presenting would be something that would get around that, or what do you feel?
It gives the power back to the county commissions. And so the nice thing is, I think that at this time we need healthy civic engagement. And what that bill would do is it would just bring that civic engagement back to the county level. So, county commission meetings are posted and they're open. So you can have the opportunity to say your piece. If you believe that regarding the minimum wage piece, go to your county commissioners and tell them that.
And in theory, with that too, it would probably be easier to repeal on that level. If you go through with it, maybe it doesn't work out the way you wanted.
Exactly.
You could lower that wage a little bit easier than it would be at a statewide level too.
Yeah, government tends to work best the closer it is. So,
another one. Not sure giving county commission the ability to set wage standard is a good idea. It could create a competitive system that only increases year after year and creates disparity across the state. So do you see an interlevel competition that would basically form up between counties, or that we're going to get ours up to $12 an hour, whereas this county's at $7.25, and they're more spread out, so it's very difficult to maybe it negatively affects rural counties more than populated, or I don't know. I don't know how it would work out, but just questions are coming up in the comments.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point, and I think that to me, competition tends to be mostly a good thing. I mean, we can talk about the counties like having competing minimum wages with each other. To me, that's a healthy component of civic engagement. If you're a resident of the county that's behind, and having people migrate to another county, that's where having that local piece of it. You have much more political power as a citizen to be able to engage your local government than you do the state legislature as a whole. So I think that's healthy civic engagement.
Absolutely.
Then back on to you were mentioning with the healthcare, how do you think that would affect? Oh, I remember where I was going with this. The healthcare costs are a very expensive thing in municipal budgets. We saw that last year with the Ward County Commission, as well as here locally in the Minot City Council. Healthcare costs and insurance costs rose pretty dramatically, and at the state level, there's been a 3% cap instituted yearly on the budget process. If you're able to affect the budgetary process, affect the medical process, where you can get something going on the state level, do you think that could positively or negatively affect that local budgeting process then?
But given the snowballing of healthcare costs, I think it would be almost certainly be positive. And so that's the next thing about taking the approach of a legislative management study first. These are all different things we could explore. We could, in a legislative management study, we could say, what kind of taxation system would it take to get full coverage for all North Dakotans in a single payer system? But we could also explore, what if just the state and municipalities had options to buy into a public option? Maybe that would help our municipalities. There's different areas that the study could come out and give us that result, and it gives us the information we need to move forward.
Fair.
Very cool, very cool. So where do you go from here? Obviously, you're kicking off the campaign today. I'm sure you have some events coming up. You have some exciting stuff that are coming down the line. Maybe you're not going to be able to reveal much of it today. Who knows? But
where's the next step from here?
What's the next step?
Next step is to engage with the community and to get my voice out there. And I'm so excited to be running with Kyle Erickson. He's announcing with me today as well. He's a disability advocate, nonprofit leader. He's just an exceptional guy. I've gotten to know him over the last year, and I think with us together as two candidates as an alternative on the District 5 House ballot, we have some chance. We have a chance here to make some noise, because Minot deserves better, guys. Like it's frankly, it's been embarrassing. Our leaders, not going to name names right now, but like just from municipality, like city government to state legislator, it's not been good for Minot. So we're gonna make the case to the voters, and more to come as far as events and stuff.
Love it.
Awesome. If someone wants to find out where that information will be at, where should they go?
D5DemNPL.com.
There we go. D5DemNPL.com. You probably saw that website on the video as well. It's written on there, so if you scroll back to the beginning, you'll definitely find that for sure.
And there's no intro to bog you down with that. So
yeah,
it's
we
like
got rid of the intro.
Exactly.
It's just one day it was gone. Appreciate you coming on. It's been a good conversation. Obviously, we're still doing candidate interviews this year.
So expect a full length,
45 minute, 30 to 45 minute, where we dive into some of these issues a little bit more granular. But thanks for announcing with us.
Thanks for having me, and have a good rest of your show, guys.
We appreciate it, Zach. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to jump to a quick break, and then we'll be back to talk some of this other stuff going on around the state.
In the demanding world of oil and gas, precision, safety, and efficiency are non-negotiable. Unmanned operator drone services revolutionizes how you monitor, inspect, and manage your operations. With cutting-edge technology and expert operators, we deliver real-time data, detailed reports, and actionable insights for our valuable clients. Why risk the safety of your team or waste precious time? Our drones access even the most challenging areas with ease, reducing downtime and enhancing safety across your sites. We take the guesswork out of your projects by offering LiDAR, mapping, and inspection services so that your projects stay safe, on budget, and on time. Unmanned operator drone services, where technology meets safety, precision, and efficiency. Contact us today to elevate your operations. Yes, pun intended.
We're here. Don't worry.
We're here. That was fun.
It was.
Campaign kickoff.
It was great.
If any other candidates want to announce that you're launching, reach
here.
out to us. We're here.
That could be you.
Going to be interesting to see how the races shape up.
Yeah. We've had a lot of rumbling starting to go around last week here. Obviously, District 3 had those candidates jump in to challenge in the primary. Here locally in Minot, haven't heard a lot of names really jump into the fire yet. We've heard a lot of rumors, but no one. I think Mayor Janser's officially going to announce coming up soon.
That's what you're hearing.
But outside of that, I don't know if I've heard anyone else that's officially jumping in yet.
Yeah, going to be interesting. So D3, we have Blaine DeLauriers and Tim Mihalik. Sorry, butchered his name. That's me. That's what I do. So actually, he's going to be having some interviews with them released probably this week or beginning of next week. So looking forward to those interviews. That's going to be an interesting race. We're still waiting word to see if current representatives Hoverson and Van Winkle are running.
Yep. Haven't heard any official word if they're coming in yet or not.
An interesting thing, though, about that race is based off a different interview that Mihalik and DeLauriers did. It sounded like they were encouraged by the governor.
Yeah, I did hear that. That was a really interesting little tidbit there, especially if that's true. If you had Governor Armstrong starting to try to influence some districts to maybe sway a little differently.
It's going to be interesting to see how districts shape up, but really how the legislature shapes up if Armstrong is going to try to, like you said, influence how the conservative part of the legislature works.
I think this could be the start of him really trying to shape the NDGOP in his own, maybe not likeness, but image, how he would like to see it go. Not saying that it's against how it's currently going, but if this is how he's going to start wanting to get some certain legislators in or some certain legislators out, it'll be interesting to see, not just this year, but even into 28 and 30.
It'll make a huge impact on it in the future, and it makes it interesting with the new chair and all that, just the different factions that go on in the GOP. And I think a lot of that was shown in the school lunch bill.
Yeah.
I think you felt it kind of come to the surface, which was the weirdest vote on the red side ever. Very good.
The House passed.
D5, though, we'll see how that race shapes up. We'll be reaching out to some candidates here soon to see if they are candidates.
Yeah, if you announce in the next week here, you don't worry. But if you don't, and we heard rumors, next couple weeks, you're going to start seeing some messages coming through.
But I imagine that you'll have For sure, Lauser will be in that race.
I would assume Fisher probably will too.
Assume both those. We'll see about Burkhardt.
Burkhardt, I guess, yeah, that would be. He is certainly eligible for the one more, so we'll have to see how that one plays out.
Yep. So that'll be interesting. That's D3, D5. Those are the two local ones, right?
Yeah, for here in Minot, that's what we have to go off of.
And then always keep an eye on that D7 one. That one down in Bismarck, Mandan area, that one's interesting to follow. So if you're looking for it's one where it's still going to stay red most likely, but there's a lot of red candidates in the race that are very, very different,
spread out
viewpoints. You have Jason Doctor in that one, which he received some controversy a couple years ago. That's kind of followed him. You have Michelle Axman in that one, who obviously is someone that was working on a school charter bill. And she's been very, very vocal and active. So, and then you have
Rick Becker.
Dr. Rick Becker. In that one, who I think a lot of people know him for his work they did on property taxes. Of course, he was formerly in the state legislature, and then he also ran for
some statewide offices.
So that's a very competitive, interesting race to follow down there.
That one, hey, Bismarck, if you need someone to host a debate down there, you let us know.
If anybody needs, like Kyler's just there. Did you say debate?
I will. Oh gosh, this is what? Okay. Oh my gosh, am I going to actually start showing up to debates this year just to see him? I might have to.
I don't know. That might be a move that Kyler does. But we do have some big statewide topics that are coming out, or that are happening. First off, we'll kick it off with school lunches. It failed.
It did.
It was close.
Like we were saying, it was some incredibly weird votes that you had there. It passed in the House by I think 2 votes, and then it failed in the Senate by I think 2 or 3 votes, and it was an incredibly narrow vote.
And those people in the House that voted for it, that I mean, I hadn't talked to them, but I didn't anticipate them voting for it. Yeah, they were on the green side.
A lot of the discussion from what the rumblings I heard going on down there centered around how this should be codified into state law, because if this goes through the ballot initiative that it's trying to right now, that would then become part of the state constitution. Whereas the way that was going through in the legislature, this would be something that wouldn't be put into the constitution. So in theory, this would be something that could be more easily repealed down the line, kind of thing.
So I have a bad take on this, okay? And I know it's bad because it sounds like most likely this is going to get voted in via the constitutional amendment, right? That's kind of the feeling.
The governor is even says he's expecting that to happen.
Yeah. So it basically, people that are familiar with politics are kind of anticipating that to be the case. But that didn't happen with property taxes.
It didn't. That was, I think people, and maybe, that was obviously a very split one, but I think people still thought it was going to be closer than it was.
It's not that,
final
though.
Vote.
No, my point with it is this. People wanted property tax reform.
Yes.
That was never the question. People wanted property tax reform.
But
they were not fine with how it was going to happen via that measure.
Yeah. So, you make a good point.
So my point is,
who's going to, if this school lunch thing comes to fruition, and if it does have that constitutional effect, are people going to be very against that?
Are they going to be fine with how it goes into effect?
Yeah.
Because it basically what I've seen is people are saying, dude, people want this. The representatives aren't voting for what their people want, which I think is not a fair statement to say, because you don't know what their district actually wants. Just because there's a high polling number does not mean that an individual district actually wants that school lunches to pass.
That's true.
We've seen when we talk school lunches, typically it's a pretty divided audience. It's not, it might be 60 to 70% for it, but there's still a lot of people that are like, no, this is not a good thing.
Yeah.
And where do those people fall? Where are they at? So I think that there's some headlines that are coming on this that is being driven by media, obviously driven by media, but there's a agenda that's being driven by media on this one, that this is something that should happen, needs to happen.
Sure.
And that's kind of what we see happen. I think it's interesting. And I know that word nowhere, and so some of you people are gonna be like, yeah, you guys.
You make a good point with that, though. It's almost like the inverse of what happened with Measure 4. Like how you would have the narrative that this is going to tank the state's economy and this is going to ruin everything, and you're not able to keep it local this way. It's almost the same thing, but on the inverse, that if you don't pass the school lunch thing, what are we doing? Kind of thing.
And the arguments are coming out about it just kind of. I don't agree with them, to put it lightly. I don't agree with them because I don't think it's fair to say that because you vote no for the people that voted no against the school lunches, that they're voting to not feed kids. I don't feel like that's fair.
Yeah, that's an extreme side of that argument for sure. But you see that a lot, 100%.
You're seeing that come up a lot where people are trying to tie the two together, and it's like, no, actually, that's not what's happening. I still feed my kids. I didn't vote, but the legislator that voted no still feeds their kids.
Yeah.
And they'd be willing to feed the neighbors' kids, most likely. I can't speak for them, but most likely they would be willing to go, and help somebody out. That's not the issue. The issue isn't about whether or not kids need fed or not. They need fed. The issue is whether or not the state should be paying for it, and if the measures that the state has already put in place are not sufficient enough. That's the issue.
And then on top of that, it's not, if there is a consensus if the state should pay for it, then it's the question of how is the state going to pay for it.
Yep.
And that's where it sticks most with me.
Is how is it going to pay for it, and will the constitutional amendment address it properly?
Yeah.
Because then it's in the Constitution, and you don't get it. It's going to be very difficult to change.
Because then you have to have a vote to change it at that stage.
And you find that whenever the legislator does anything about that stuff, because we've seen this for fair. We've seen this though with term limits. We've seen this with, we didn't see with property tax because it didn't get voted, but we saw with term limits where when the legislature tried to fix it the way that they saw fit, people are like, you didn't listen to the people.
And now they're going to see it on the ballot again.
Right. And so that's probably, like you said, kind of alluded to. It's probably why some of these people that were like, let's get it into law so we can control it rather than, but it'll probably pass. Like if I was a betting man, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I would say, it's probably going to pass. But I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. Yeah. That's the thing, I would not be surprised if it didn't.
I still haven't seen the final language of what it's going to be.
Exactly. And maybe it becomes very clear and it's like, this is going to be good.
Yeah. Like you can't, it becomes so hard to argue it, whatever the stipulations are, or vice versa. They just throw something out there that says the state of North Dakota will pay for student lunches.
Yeah. And
that's it.
Yeah, and maybe that's the move. Maybe that's the best thing because then the legislature
gets more control. Actually,
gets to control it, but they have to do it. But then we see that they're supposed to pay for public school, and they don't. They only pay 80% for public education.
For just an example, to try to be that opposite, that is so negative, people can't really get. It would be hard for a lot to get behind it. Say you have this come to light and. The bill says, or the initiative says that this must be paid through with a new tax incentive kind of thing. This will be based off a 2% statewide sales tax increase that will go strictly to that fund or something. That would be that's right off the top of my head, spitballing kind of thing.
You want to be for that?
I would not. No.
Why not?
I don't like that.
Why not?
I don't like adding an increased sales tax for it.
See, and but that leads down to the problem of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Is because when it comes down to people having to pay for it, they don't want to pay for it.
Exactly.
We want to take it out of some kind of tax that doesn't affect us, and let's go pay for it.
Then that's the hard part.
Especially that's the unfair part about that.
Yeah, and especially if you're adding a new tax onto it, I can't imagine. That's where I was getting at, is that people are going to see that and they're just not going to want to do it, even if it, you can argue that morally it's the right thing to do, but people see the raising of taxes and they're against that.
The argument is this: North Dakota's rich. Let's go spend the money. That's literally what the argument is. We're wealthy enough. Let's go spend the money. Christy, talk about the money that's already there to feed the kids that can't afford it. It's not even half used yearly. Paperwork's not done. And this is something that came up through the whole process of this in this special session, is people aren't doing the paperwork. And so it's basically let's just go ahead and make it where they don't have to do paperwork.
And I guess that's kind of where it's coming to at this stage.
But my understanding is that the funding sources are still a little bit different, where the funding doesn't necessarily fall directly on the state. Is my understanding. I could be a little bit naive on that, but that is my understanding. It doesn't all fall directly on the state.
Yeah, I know there is some federal incentives and some federal I don't have any idea.
I think even some of it falls on local, but nonetheless, it's that the point of the comment is not about that. The point of the comment is not even all that's used right now. All that's available right now is not being used, and now we're saying let's go spend $65 million on it.
Yeah. And that's I get that's a very large amount of money, especially what happens then if. So there's two sides of it. You throw that arbitrary $65 million at it and say you go through the year and it ends up costing 85. Or do you pull the extra from? Or vice versa, it only costs 45 and now you have a $20 million in excess. Do you just roll that over and try to adjust and now say this next year's only going to be 45 million? But then that next, there's a lot of variables that go along with this.
Yeah. Student lunch bill is so much more complex than it appears from the surface. Federal funding for several programs is tied to the paperwork provided and income level of the families in the school. Yeah. But I think we could just, I've already said my viewpoint, so we don't need to jump back there. I don't know. It's kind of a frustrating thing, though.
Yeah, the big, yeah, it is. I legacy fund is my big thing for the source of it all.
Where Kyler wants it to come from, I want it to come. If it happens, I want it to come from sales tax. I like that idea.
So you liked my proposed idea then?
Yeah, because people would hate it.
Fair enough.
People would be like, I ain't doing that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
but
why I said it.
That's my point.
Exactly, yeah.
I think every single time that we want to go and fund a new program, that we either have to cut one or it goes from sales tax. And I don't really think this, but if you did that, people would be like, yeah, I don't really think that program is that important. Mm-hmm. I think we should actually spend the money here if we're going to have to do it.
I can see that argument.
But this deal is we have such low, this state has been set up in some ways well in that we have such low income tax and we have such low taxes at the actual state level that we're like, let's go spend the money.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to increase my income tax.
Yeah.
It's not going to increase my daily life. So let's go spend the money. And that's kind of been the attitude, and that's why we have a $20 billion budget.
Yeah. That's why it's grown, $15 billion in the last 20 years kind of thing.
And now you're going to see already they're talking about a $1.5 billion shortfall, right? Next session? But we're going to go and pay for this stuff that we're already having to find. It doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Also, before we move on briefly, I think that budgetary shortfall, if that does come up, I think it's going to show that there's going to be some pretty hefty fat that can be cut off the statewide budget.
We're not even going to feel it.
Exactly.
We're not even going to feel it.
Exactly.
Somebody will, because there's some program that'll be cut, but it's going to be like, I don't know.
Commerce Department's grant.
It's got to go to the Commerce Department.
I had to throw the shot there. But for new energy development, that was the new one. But excuse me, we were mentioning sales tax. Do you have anything else at the state level?
No, but we can jump into this local.
So speaking of sales tax, the city of Minot's Park Board is going to be trying to institute a new sales.
I want to read this comment. I think there are falsehoods being circulated that 80% of voters are for it. Indy United and out-of-state money is going to be thrown at this, and I'm voting no. I
think that's good.
Don't disagree with that at all. Mm-hmm. I think that this is going to be a much closer vote than what people are trying to say, where it's a shoo-in. Yeah. I think that's part of, like I said, narrative that the media is trying to get out. North Dakota has the same problem as every other place.
Else, of course.
Narrative media was trying to get out, of putting pressure to get this passed. Mm-hmm. It didn't work, and I'm really intrigued to see what happens at the ballot box.
Yeah, I will still.
If it gets on it's not even on the ballot yet.
Yeah, to be fair, it hasn't even gotten there yet. If it does, I still, just generally speaking, I think it's going to pass. But I agree with you, and I agree with the comment. I don't think it's anywhere near an 80% approval rating.
It's not a landslide.
It's going to be a closer competition.
What's a landslide? Is it 60% plus, basically?
It could be 60%. Anything less than 60%, you can't really.
I don't think it'll be over. I'm going to go 66%. It won't be, which is still a fair margin, but it won't be over 60%.
At the absolute highest kind of.
That'd be the highest. That would pass by, but it could. I still feel like it could fail. I feel like it's very wide range. I feel like it's. I don't know, man. North Dakota voted down the idea of giving checks back to people from oil royalties. When it comes to actually doing stuff, the votes turn out weird, man.
It really does. So
okay, let's get to the sales tax stuff.
There is, once again, as there was last year, going to be a 0.5% sales tax increase on the ballot for the city of Minot.
When does this ballot come out?
This is in June 9th. This will be on the June 9th primary ballot. And this is something implemented or tried to be implemented by the city park board. They are going to try to implement that 0.5-cent sales tax. Again, a vote that failed by 25 votes last summer.
Yep.
When we had park board member Justin Hammer here, we talked a little bit about that vote and how he was thinking that they could see something come again of it. And here we are.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, don't worry about anything you read last week, I swear. So we have it to the point now.
No, from Justin Hammer.
Oh, yes. You
heard it here first.
You're darn tootin'.
Yeah.
You betcha. So this would go and obviously it would institute that 0.5% sales tax that would go directly to the park board. It would be an estimated $6 million a year that it would be levying. And in that time, they would have a 20-year reduction or cap on the sales or property taxes, where the mill cap would go from 38 down to 26.
Okay.
And
Is there any attempt to get a new building?
I don't think directly it's that's not on the ballot, but I know that was obviously part of the initiative. That's going to be one of the things they're going to want to get done with it. So you're not voting this to approve a new building similar to what it was last year. This would be just a new revenue source for the park board.
And then they're going to take that money and say, now we can build the building.
Yep. Because obviously there will be a reduction in property taxes off this. That'll be offset by that sales tax. But the general revenue they'll be getting would go up.
Right. So, yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah,
they're going to be able to cover their maintenance, but it sounded like they were already getting tight on maintenance as it was.
Yeah, so this is going to help out.
Anything to keep the ice skating rinks open.
Exactly.
Let's keep them out.
You've been there this week? Pretty cold.
No, it's 3 days into this week. 2.5 days in. I haven't been there yet.
Okay, that's fair.
I didn't go last week, though. That might have been the more question you're
That was probably where I was going.
Yeah, I didn't go last week.
For the intent. But this is going to come back now, and the park board voted unanimously to get it processed, so it'll be in front of the city council on February 2nd.
And that should be go ahead, do it. It's just a formality.
Yeah.
That's what they mentioned last time. It's not our job to actually dictate this.
No, it's their job to approve it to go on the ballot, pretty much.
Because it has to go through the city in order to get on the ballot.
Yeah. So that'll be on the first meeting in February, and then after that, we'll once again have a shot to vote on that in June.
How do you feel about it this time?
I'm still generally in favor of the idea, but I would rather see a larger reduction in the property tax decrease, and B, either A, just period, or B, a longer sunset period than 20 years.
20 years is a long time, man.
It is, but it's also a long enough time to forget that this happened, and so when it sunsets in 20 years, you just get an automatic mill jump then.
Yeah, but there's still property taxes in order to get it.
That's fair. Reasonable point there. If you listen to Governor Armstrong, by that point, it will be paid for by the legislature.
By the money.
Yeah.
By the money.
Yes, money.
The money that just grows in North Dakota.
Money, money, money.
Where does it come from? We don't know.
The oil. It's from underground.
That's what we say.
Gold. Black gold.
That's what they say. It comes from the oil. Does it?
Something, 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 and something, Jed.
Okay. So that'll be interesting. That's coming on the primary ballot. That'll be really good. June 9th. June 9th, you said?
June 9th is the primary. That is going to be that is the best election period in Minot, in my opinion.
We'll go and get somebody on. We'll do our best to get somebody on to talk about that more, but obviously kind of already heard the talk on this one. I think it's going to be a lot the same, a little bit different.
Yeah, it'll be good to have a refreshed perspective on it. And obviously I think that when this was on its own last June as a standalone item, very low turnout for voters. It was only 2,000 people that showed up. Coming forward to this June, obviously this is going to be a regular scheduled primary event, so it would be really prudent, I think, to expect to have a higher voter turnout going forward in this one than you would in last year.
I agree.
Hopefully we can see 6,000 people. Do you think we can get there?
No.
Okay. Where do you think we can get?
Like 3,000.
Don't think we can get to that 5 from last August as a special election. Don't think we can get.
Yeah, we'll get 4 to 5. We'll get 4 to 5 because we have the city races.
I'm shooting for 6. I'm shooting for 6 this June.
No, I don't think we got it.
That's the goal. I'm saying
I'm not doing a pie in the face over it though.
Yeah, I'm not either. Did that last year.
What was the 2026 challenges going to be?
I'm good.
No challenges this year.
We'll talk about it when we get closer.
We'll get Alderman Olson on and see how that changes it. Because that was the part that got you over the edge last time.
As long as her presence is here, I'll just...
Yeah, you'll say yes to whatever challenge, so we'll be reaching out. All right. Moving on.
What else do you want to
talk about? What happened on Friday? There was a special city council meeting.
There was.
Friday.
They talked about, well, obviously this isn't new anymore. They did not come to an agreement with the Souris Valley Animal Shelter on the pound contract, so that has ended and that is now currently lapsed, and they're working on still some temporary stuff for that for services between the city and Souris Valley to maybe work through the next month until that RFP gets put out. But there was a lot of discussion on that. It was kind of interesting.
We're going to be reaching out. Well, we already did, and it just didn't work, right? But we'll be getting a conversation with somebody from Souris Valley Animal Shelter, talk about that in full, kind of see where they're at on things. Obviously, We've heard the talk from the city where they stand on things from the dais, but I'm sure we'll be having, I don't know who, but we'll be having somebody on soon where that would definitely be a central topic. Because, yeah, what happens now for the city? We got no pound.
Yeah, it's
New RFP coming out.
Yep, there are. I can say that there are some people in city staff that are a little concerned with the situation, but hopefully, again, worst case, absolute worst case, like a month from now, it'll be resolved.
You think it'll be resolved that fast?
Or excuse me, that would be best case, or no, yeah, worst case. We only have to go, like a month, 6 weeks without a service.
That'd be the worst case. So,
in my opinion,
it'll be resolved
speculatively.
6 weeks or less. It'll be
I think
resolved.
so. I think this is going to be a fast.
Do you think the Sturt Valley Animal Shelter comes back?
I think there's a chance they do.
Well, if they don't, who does it?
In the interim time period? Or
no, going forward.
Okay, so here's the interesting thing. They're going to split up. So prior, the RFP was for one wholly encompassing business and entity.
Yeah, break this down.
And they're going to change it now, because before it was going to be, you had to take anything and everything effectively, and you had to have a full-time vet on staff for you.
Right.
So now they're going to try to change the RFPs so that a company can accept only cats or dogs or exotic other animals, and there won't be a staffing requirement for the vet, because from the way it sounded, they're going to try to do just an independent contract with vets around the city to work with the city as like the city vet provider.
Sweet. So and for the people that were like, it would never work to have our own pound, that actually creates a path where we could have our own pound. Because what could happen is you could say, okay, we're going to provide pound services for dogs and cats, but not exotic animals. And then we have the contract with vets throughout the city.
And this would allow, then you wouldn't have to have a city staff member that's a vet. And that's,
that's the problem.
X amount 6-figure contract there. You would only have to contract services from vets around town.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. And I don't know that we would ever have our own pounds still, but it makes it way easier rather than having to fulfill the whole entire thing.
Yeah, and that at least opens the door at that point for something to come of it in the future. And maybe nothing does, and maybe this isn't even how the final RFPs get put out a month from now, but at least from discussion they were having, that's the way it sounded it was going to go.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, well, so you think all those services will be filled, though, through the RFPs? What about the exotic animals?
I think your worst and most pressing services will be fulfilled within like a month and a half here.
We don't have that many exotic animals. Come on, there's not that many lions or tigers.
I think the word more, it would be along the lines of like reptiles and stuff that you'd have to be worrying about with that. And also from what I gathered, from what I gathered in the conversation, other would also include like livestock into that as well. So you would, because there's instances where there's neglect to livestock animals, and generally the pound services who has to at least provide a first step for that to be taken care of.
It is interesting how the vet care is changing in North Dakota, where it's not as many vets as there used to be. Is this a schooling problem? Is that what that comes down to? Well, I don't know.
Yeah, so I've talked to a couple vets around town, one specifically, and from what I've gathered, this is there's a couple different aspects of it. One, this is speculation, opinion on my part from what I've gathered. So preface, but from what I've gathered, I feel like there's a slight excessive need for schooling and requirements in that regard. When you have to go 4+ years to become an animal doctor, not saying it's not necessary. Obviously, it's a lot of vital information you have to learn. You are a doctor of medicine at that point.
Right.
But also, it feels like there could be a way to find a path forward for this, where similar to how nurse practitioners work in medicine, you could find I don't want to say lesser degree to find a path forward, but a different way where you don't have to go to school for 4+ years for it. Yeah. Where you can maybe find a 2-year program to get into the door and maybe apprentice your way up further then or something.
Makes sense. So schooling is, and it's
at least part of it.
You have to go to one of the big two in order to get schooling?
As far as I know, yeah. It's either UND or NDSU in the state.
Gotcha.
And I
don't even know if UND offers it.
Yeah, they might not, honestly.
NDSU probably does it for sure.
But yeah, the only reason, I'm not even 100% positive on that one. So there are some,
interesting.
There are some definite interesting paths on that whole process going forward. But if you want to be a veterinarian, definitely look into it. Minot needs you.
2018 June primary had over 8,000 turnout.
It did.
So there's a chance.
I would love to see that happen again. That was a big year. That was the first year Minot transitioned from its old city council to the new one, the whole making Minot program and everything.
Yeah.
Skipping that one?
No, it was something else. skipping that comment. As long as the reduction stays in place, as regarding property taxes, as long as the reduction stays in place and property taxes don't raise right back up, and now part district has two sources of income. It's kind of what you were saying. That is a huge concern with that. And then concerning the vet, in a town where the vets are stretched thin and many new residents and new pet owners need to find vet care in places like Towner, I wonder how the local vets would make this work.
See, that's a great counterpoint to it, because it's not like they have to take this contract request from the city.
Right.
It even gets put out in that regard. Their workload could be so extensive that they don't even want to take on any possibility of it. And we could be, again, 6 weeks from now in this same situation where we have some facilities for animals, but there's not a vet service.
Kyler might be going back to school to become a vet.
Oh, maybe. Hey, maybe.
Start a vet in my house.
I can have more guarantees there, probably. I can figure that out.
Okay, here we go. Here's some,
That's a good one.
hopefully. Yeah, okay. So Iowa State University is the primary college for vets in our area.
Really?
That was from the comments from Miranda Schuler.
That's incredible. Honestly, I think we need to. How about this? We need to get a better local program in the state for veterinary.
Well, it's incredible that North Dakota
doesn't have anything in the state.
Well, anything is a stretch
Probably
because it was primary.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
I'm sure there's some undergrad programs you can start out at UND or NDSU for it. But for that to be the primary source in Iowa is kind of crazy.
Yeah, North Dakota State has some stuff. I don't know what all that it has. But it can be like UND has a pre-vet program and stuff.
Sure.
So
it's that.
It's just that's a mess.
You start there and then
problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Well, I think that covers a lot of things. The city council actually had a really good work session.
There is. There's not a ton to really talk about there. It was a few hours of them kind of going over how what the aspirations and the goals of Minot are, how some of the language that they kind of had as the city aspirations might be a little unnecessary and excessive at this point, just to try to follow up as a city to incorporate these aspirations into everything we do. Maybe not fully necessary to have that on top of everything, and rather maybe these can just be some guiding principles instead of like a core principle that you follow kind of thing. That was one of the bigger ones, and they were talking then again about 2 years ago, if you remember, everyone that ran for city council was able to be privy to the budgetary discussions and certain city council things.
That's going to happen again?
They wanted, they made sure, because it's a best practice thing, but it sounds like now it's going to be like a set in stone.
So I think I should run for council then.
Yeah.
Because if I got the signatures, then I get to be a part of it. I guess I can be anyways. They're open.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a quorum, so it's open. So, but what was interesting about it was not that they could be there, I think, is that they would actually be allowed to chime in.
Yeah. And
so there would be the initial conversation that would happen among the actual people that are already elected. And then there would be a secondary conversation that could happen by candidates where they would be able to ask questions.
Yeah. Especially, I know one point was made, being that since these are the people that are out on the street trying to get elected, a lot of times they can hear more directly from constituents what is wanted. I mean, not saying that your current council members aren't hearing that, but they're not.
Kind of an interesting comment there, man.
Yeah, generally speaking, your city council members aren't boots on the ground trying to knock doors to get that information, kind of thing. Gotta save myself on that one. Yeah,
good job. But interesting stuff. What do you got going on today?
I heard there's some kind of announcement.
Pizza review. There's a pizza review going on today.
That is happening. We're gonna go to Uncle Mattio's.
Uncle Mattio's is the place of choice today.
I think so, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
it's gonna be good. And then after that, there's an announcement that's coming out.
Something this afternoon. I'm gotta look at that, and we'll put something out about that. And
then throughout this week, we're gonna have some interviews dropping.
Yeah, we'll be live again here Thursday. Have some fun stuff to talk about.
Guess who we're gonna have?
Who do we have on?
City engineer Lance Meyer.
Holy Toledo! I gotta get ready for that one. I have to be
time to drive all the roads in Minot.
We have to be.
I dare you to drive every single mile of Minot before that interview.
No. I deny the shit.
Challenge denied.
Maybe if it was summertime, I'd think about it.
Yeah, you probably won't even drive half the roads because it'd be snowpacked.
Exactly, right now.
Just be driving snow. That was not a slam at the city.
No, it's a slam at my little... I drive a Toyota Corolla. I'd be just zooming around in that thing.
That'll be interesting. Look forward to that interview.
It'll be really good conversation, so make sure you tune in on Thursday at 9 a.m.
They'll be releasing couple already mentioned it, but a couple Election Central type podcasts. I'm not sure if we're calling it Election Central or not, but those type of candidate interviews. Have a special interview that we're going to be doing with something from Surrey.
Oh,
so you can find that out when it comes out.
Keep the eyes.
And then there's another interview that we're trying to set up that I think will be set up by the end of today. That will be one that will be something people will want to listen to. So
keep your eyes and ears open here.
We're coming back, folks. It's going to be a good 2026.
This is local elections is what we live for, folks. So also let's see some more people start jumping into that city council race. It's time.
Jump in.
Time
Let us
go.
know. Come on here. Announce with us. We'll do it. It'll be a good time. Thank you for watching this episode. Oh, wait a minute.
More.
Big topic we missed. Sorry for the people that jumped off early. You're going to be disappointed. This is what you guys waited for. Just kidding. You might want to jump off right now. Shedeur Sanders is named for the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
How?
Because the NFL's Pro Bowl system is so flawed that half the guys that get elected originally bail out of the Pro Bowl because they don't want to do it because it's just a bunch of generic dumb games down in Florida now instead of an actual Pro Bowl.
It's not in Florida. It's in San Francisco.
Oh, it's in San Francisco this year.
The question,
I don't even know.
the question is,
Hawaii, man.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. Please.
Okay. The question is this. First question is, should Dylan Gabriel but named over Shedeur? I know Shedeur probably deserves over Dylan. The bigger question, that really isn't a question, but I think it needs to be there. The NFL, because this is not, from my understanding, the replacements are not the backups. Mm-hmm. The replacements are not necessarily done through fan voting. Mm-hmm. Did the NFL give Shedeur this Pro Bowl in hopes that he would continue to improve, and next year, through fan voting and through his own ability, would make the Pro Bowl, and for life, his entire career, Shedeur Sanders could be a Pro Bowler and follow, not necessarily in his daddy's footsteps, and that his dad went and was a Pro Bowler every year. I don't know if he was or not, but that he would continue the great Sanders name.
Hey, I hope that's not the case, and they're not just trying to be.
I don't know anymore. It's NFL.
Nepotism-like about it. I would much rather hope that they offered the slot to like 2-3 other guys, like an Aaron Rodgers or someone along those lines.
Aaron Rodgers didn't get offered it.
Well, and if they...
Aaron Rodgers would not show up to the Pro Bowl.
Well, that's exactly my point. I'm hoping that they offered it to people like them, and they all just laughed at the NFL and said, I'm not doing that.
Do you think J.J. McCarthy would have? Like, that's a really good point that was made.
Of course he would have, yeah.
Do you think he deserves it more?
No.
He doesn't deserve it more than Shedeur?
Maybe technically, but like I don't think either deserve it.
Exactly.
They've got to combine like 15 games.
I tell you who I wanted. When I found out that Shedeur was named, I told you who I wanted. I think it would have been phenomenal if Phillip Rivers was named for the Pro Bowl.
Because it's Justin Herbert and Josh Allen, I think.
Yeah, and they might be injured. Who knows? And then you had like Joe Burrow and...
Did Trevor Lawrence not get like that? Was my
I think he
biggest
declined.
One. Okay, he declined.
He actually did.
That was my biggest one that I saw. I was like, how?
He was named the top on alternate, but it's possible Lawrence turned down the opportunity, so he was the top alternate. But there's no confirmation, but he may have.
So I think the bigger
next
issue
to maybe would be Patrick Mahomes and Bo Nix,
both of whom are hurt.
Yep. And then you go to Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and C.J. Stroud. Now, C.J. Stroud's an interesting one because it feels like he would be a dude that would have done it. Mm-hmm.
Like I get Lamar's been there, he's done
Lamar's probably not doing it. Joe Burrow, I mean, I don't know if Joe Burrow would have ever done it. He's just kind of like...
He's just a weird guy.
That.
He's a weird dude.
Kind of... He's a good one. Aaron Rodgers probably not doing it. But C.J. Stroud kind of felt like he could have been the guy.
Exactly. And he didn't have as good of a year as his rookie year, but I can tell you for a fact, a lot better than Shedeur Sanders' year.
Although he may have been worried about getting hurt.
Yeah, it's always a chance. Playing that flag football in San Francisco is going to get him hurt.
Well, it can happen.
Hey, maybe they'll be too close to the San Francisco's practice field, just right by that big electrical facility that's causing all their injuries.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Did you see that the two teams in the Super Bowl are not practicing at...
I did not. They're like intentionally.
One's in, I don't know if they're intentionally, but one's in San Jose State.
Sure.
And the other one's at another college. I can't think of it.
Frankly, it's not like they're that far from Oh wait, no, excuse me. I thought the Seahawks could conceivably just be at home until right beforehand.
You see, Joe Flacco could have been, dude.
Yeah, that was a tough
Riley
one.
Leonard. He actually had a fantastic final game of the year.
Yeah, he had a good game.
One game. I get he's not going off of one game, but you have to understand the guy that went played
Had
six
Yeah,
more
so
or something.
I agree. That's ridiculous too.
So we're in the weeds here, but it's not as far. We could have done Jared Stidham, however you say his name. He
start a regular season game,
but dude, he almost won it too.
Yeah, he had that one pass, man. So bottom line, NFL, fix your Pro Bowl.
Fix your Pro Bowl.
I think that's my big take.
We've done everything except be productive here in the last couple of minutes. So with that, we will actually end it. Thank you for watching this episode.
Thank you for sticking around, for real. Appreciate every single one of you guys for watching this. You are legends.
Good conversations that were had until the end. Thanks for watching. We'll be back, as already said, on Thursday with more good stuff, we hope. But until then, leave a comment. Let us know what you're thinking. If there's somebody you want us to have on, let us know. We'll do our best. We're just here for you. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.